Let's dive into the fun bit. All right, so I am a bit of an enigma. We think because social media and this and that we've those billion years of development as organisms is gone. It's not. Like, you need to be communicative, you need to be in touch, you need to be on a journey.
Welcome to the CEO DNA podcast, and here it's all about entrepreneurs, founders and CEOs to become the best version of themselves. And the next story we talk about is extremely unique because he unfortunately had a very bad childhood. He actually was homeless afterwards, and at his deepest point he realized that he's enough and he can do anything he wants in life. So let's welcome Joseph Michael Daniels.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So what is for you good DNA of a CEO?
Resilience and firefighting I've found to be, it's a unique thing when you think about what is a CEO. I always say to people, a little bit swearing, we could probably beep it, I'm a shit CEO. Why do some of the best entrepreneurs in history weirdly make bad CEOs? And it's usually because to be a CEO, you really have to execute on a strategy. And you have to kind of know when to slow down. I think with me, I've always been, and maybe it's due to my upbringing, my background, there's nothing that's impossible for me. Like I've been so low that like nothing bothers me. And therefore, I think some entrepreneurs make bad CEOs. But what makes a good CEO, the DNA of a good CEO, the DNA of a good entrepreneur is having resilience. You are going to get burnt. You are going to fall down. You're going to continuously, your job in life is to be told no, or it won't work, or have issues and tech stack fallovers and executive fallouts and legal. God, lawyers are the bane of everyone's existence as an entrepreneur. You really realize where the money's spent, and that's on legals. And so you need to have a resilience. You need to have a certain level of arrogance and confidence in a way, yes, to kind of believe your own hype. And I think that's the DNA of what a CEO really is. It's a weird oxymoron where you have to be kind, executive, arrogant, resilient, misunderstood.
Right, yeah, interesting. So before we dive into your experience from the past, what we can learn from there, let's talk a little bit what you do today. So you have your own podcast, first of all,
yep,
quite successful. That's called the...
Generationally Yours. Yeah, so that was born probably for a similar reason that you've done yours in a way. There's a lot of like, the Stephen Bartlett's of this world, and I was like, I need to speak to more people in industry, less personalities. Right. I really I thought there was a missing gap. Me and Catalina, we basically co-founded it. She's my co-founder at the venture smart cities ecosystem technology company Elixir. But we basically were like, I feel like a lot of podcasts I'm not getting enough from. Right. Like I want 20, 30 minutes on the train or the tube in the morning and to speak to directors of Barclays and Pinsent Mason, because what's funny is that we speak to a lot of personalities and a lot of people, entrepreneurs and leaders and celebrities, but they're not the really ones you interact with on a business level. And I really wanted to address that intergenerational element of like, well, what does a bank manager mean to a young entrepreneur?
Absolutely.
What does a lawyer kind of mean? And that was kind of the birth of the podcast, and just really also it's a great lead generator. Perfect. You can have chats with people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's how we also started to talk, and it was very interesting. So on the one hand, you host a podcast. On the other hand, you are chairman and co-founder from Elixir. What do they do?
So when we get into my background in a minute, we'll talk about how I went and became the world leading net zero builder. And then after exiting that company, and there's a number of reasons that company, I didn't want to stay in that role for a period of time. I noticed that there was different verticals. So everywhere in the world I built on 4 continents, and net zero sustainability, I noticed there was red tape. Yeah. And I noticed that, for example, in data, you don't have data sharing. For planning, it's all 2-dimensional and there's no digital twins. For building performance, it's all theoretical performance based on insurance. And I was like, and then for retrofit, everyone's just guessing from paperwork that's wrong. So I was like, there needs to be innovations in each individual sector. So I joined with Catalina, who's a co-founder, and said, how do we address verticals? So, in the last year, we've launched 3 companies. We're on a mission to launch about 8 or 9 between now and 2027. The first 3 address, one's the leading digital twin planning technology. It's SimCity meets Grand Theft Auto for planners, and it's revolutionized in the northwest of England how people connect data to planning, to finance. The other one is what I'm actually in the Middle East for. My Abu Dhabi company, now we're in discussions with people like Neom, is sensor manufacturing for IoT. So we're building an extremely intelligent, patented AI that will really be an intelligent smart cities home. You use sensors, it audits building, it takes environmental stuff, and then there's a retrofit technology which uses lidar. But what happens is what Elixir is the common thread.
Yes.
So each of these individual businesses are addressing markets. So retrofit in New York and London, big NHS. We've got digital twins in the northwest. We've got sensors being manufactured, but actually there's like a golden thread. And Elixir is the elixir of smart cities. And then next year we're launching a new finance mechanism for funds and loans and bonds. And we've got a rare earth technology where how do you get minerals. So it's really understanding the components going to see, but instead of doing it all in one company, we're a group that addresses these problems as verticals.
Right.
But there's a golden thread, there's a woven tapestry between each of them.
Very interesting. So when I go into, let's say, what you do today, and when I look at your history a bit, it's always now focused on urban development and smart cities. And I could connect that this also has to do with something going back to your history, living on the street and be homeless.
Yeah. So let's
dive into that.
Let's dive into the fun bit. All right. So I am a bit of an enigma. And an odd one out in that I was homeless as a very young man. So between 15 and 21, I was in and out of halfway housing. Halfway housing in the UK is like, homeless shelters, but for young people and stuff.
But how did this happen?
Yeah, so the reason is I had an extremely abusive alcoholic father. It was very violent. And my mum, due to the violence towards me, actually had a mental breakdown and she was sectioned. So I found myself at 15 with no dad around after being abusive, struggles, no money, and my mum now in a mental institute. I spent a few nights on my nan's bathroom floor because there was no space in her house. Slept on a bathroom floor.
Wow.
She had a little 2 tiny bed house and there was 6 or 7 of us, my little sister. And then my mum was in and out of getting better, and she met an incredible man, and she's doing really well. And what was amazing, being able to do my first exit and buy my mum a dream caravan on an island on the seafoam was like the best feeling ever.
Wow.
But yeah, I came from the darkness. I know what it's like. So I spent times like I remember. Had this issue, couldn't have anywhere to live, and all my stuff's in a park. And then Barclays, the bank, shot a documentary about that around my life. And that running out of electric when I was in halfway housing on the little gas electric card, that like living in mold and dampy places or not having somewhere or living on someone's couch, I was like, this is insane. How can I be like in a place like Liverpool Street in London and like a Ferrari will drive past and you look at the homelessness and it's like, it's done. There is enough global economics, there's enough global capital to house people. But then when you house them, I realize it's awful. So like you're just building wrong. Like it's like we don't understand that if you do something well, it'll last longer and do better for the economy and for people. So why do we just keep subpar? Why do we keep doing substandard? And that led me onto a journey. And then I managed to kind of get, I say get out of like homelessness. I was living in a summer house in a garden in the winter in England. So my mum met this guy,
cold.
they got a house. Yeah. Oh my God, when I say cold, bro, bro, it's cold, right? And I was living in a summer house and I was like, I kind of started like a music label, a media company. I always used to write music. So I'm from North London. A couple of the families I grew up with, so between 15 and 21, they were like family. I like a music background. One family is from Africa, posh Africa, part English. Another one is from the Caribbean islands in Anguilla. So like I surrounded myself with my people and got into music quite a bit. And then I was writing, I'm writing with my boys, I'm chilling out. I'm a kid, I'm not from the hood in a sense, right? I was like, yeah, let's do this. And I started this music label and was like, I'm gonna sign one of my mates. And I got him a major deal. And I was like, where did this come from? At school, I was always super disruptive, like hyper disruptive. Like my teachers hated me because I would sit, I wouldn't turn up, but I'd sit in an exam and get 80%. And no one could figure it out. They're like, you don't even revise. And it turns out that this unchanneled energy was obviously a form of intelligence.
Yes.
And so I was like, right, do you know what I'm gonna do? Screw this, I'm not going to do a music label or media company anymore. I'm going to build a net zero building. I don't understand why we're not using really good build materials, why we're not using things like air conditioning run by solar. It's preposterous to me that all new buildings are these old gas leaky things. And then between 23 and 27, I built net zero with the United Nations in Africa, training locals to build a house in 2 weeks that was World Bank net zero.
Respect,
Won
wow.
UN 75th award. I built the highest performing building in the Middle East and Saudi Arabia with Sabic. I broke the energy performance certificate in the UK, which has led to some of the work I'm doing now. I have a non-profit, which we can get more onto. And I weirdly built a house in America that won the White House Energy House of the Year award. So I actually won the Department of Energy award. We created $105,000 of embodied savings, which meant you could create a bond. So effectively, by just building that type of building we designed, you would be able to pull $105,000 of savings to pay for all the materials.
Yes.
And I just did it. I just started teaching myself and studying programming, engineering, mechanical engineering. But going back to a youth as well, whilst my dad was an abusive alcoholic, he was an air conditioning HVAC engineer. Mm-hmm. So I spent every holiday, because he was quite demanding, abusive, kind of typical kind of alcoholic man from England back in the day. He was abused as well by his father, violence, etc. He used to make me work. So all of this underpinning, I was doing electrical installs at like 12. I was doing HVAC installs at like 13. And so I had this like base knowledge that allowed me to kind of add to those skills in a new world of digitization and digital learning to smash building apart.
Interesting. So let's talk about also our learnings for all the entrepreneurs, CEOs, and also for the young generation who's out there who maybe also has challenges at the moment in life. Yeah. So I have somebody in front of me who is a serial entrepreneur today, extremely successful. I did my research, 30 under 30 and so on. But looking back, when in your childhood, it was extremely tough. And at one point, you switched around. So when was this turning switch, and what can we give to the listeners here who maybe at this point? So how do they really turn?
So I hope that no one that's listening to this gets to the point that I did. But when I was 21, I had a suicide attempt. So my mum and my sister have had issues with mental health. I felt like I had nothing. I remember crying, drinking a bottle of vodka. I had some painkillers, and I took like 50 painkillers. And I invited a friend over who was in the military, so he didn't understand death. So I kind of prepared and planned this. It's quite emotional thinking about it. But what I ended up doing was getting to a point, and then I woke up violently vomiting. My mates grabbed me and like put his fingers down my throat. What are you doing? We love you. You're crazy. And for me, that was rock bottom. Yes. And I just went, fuck it. I got to do something, man. I can do something. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm just going to hurt people. But you feel like as a young man or a young woman that's had a tumultuous life, that you're not worth anything. Like, you feel like it would be better off if you weren't here. And that's a deep feeling. And anyone that's been through that, or anyone that's had that kind of depressive state, especially in today's mental health, and especially with today's social media toxicity, where you're like presented this life in, everyone's in Dubai living it, but they're all really renting it, and your mind's just saturated. You feel like you're not worth anything. So I hope that no one gets to that point, but I imagine a lot of people, and I know a lot of people do. And it's about knowing that you are enough. Like, as a person, like you are enough. If you're listening, you don't need to. You can do something incredible.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can do anything, but also be prepared to work. Don't give it the talk. One of the biggest things I could advise people is don't talk, man. I used to be a big talker, but what I would do is back it up with 100 hours of work, and I would outwork everyone. That was my thing. I would learn it quickly online, and now we've got ChatGPT. God, it's like living with a tutor in your head. But make sure that you are focused. Make sure that you are hungry enough, but also don't be afraid to not do it. Don't feel the need to have to be the greatest at things. Because every time I've tried to be the best at something, I've always let myself down a little bit. Even though I've done crazy shit, but sometimes it's about just doing it because you love it. Do it because it will make you feel better. Do it because it gives you purpose and worth. Don't just do it because of economic outcomes. And I can promise you, and I imagine all the money in the world don't make you happy. I did my first exit. I thought I had it all. My life was the worst it's ever been. I felt so lonely and isolated. So don't do it for exterior motives. Yeah. Do it because it makes you feel good. Because if you feel good, you won't be depressed. You will have great circles. The people enjoy being around you.
So true.
And then you're happy.
So true. And I think it's such an interesting point. We had one as the most famous entrepreneur in Germany here, who's also leading the Shark Tank in Germany as a Shark Tank version. And he said the worst time he had in his life, and I had also private talks with him, and he knows I'm allowed to say that. And he said the worst time was when I had the biggest exit.
Bro, when you focus your goal on a monetizable event and an exit, you realize how little you needed, and you realize, and the people around you change. Like you can't, dude. They say more money, more problems. It's not more problems. Your life gets easier.
Yeah.
But dude, it's so hard to trust me. It's you don't know what they're there for now. All of a sudden, but when you're building, and also as well, appreciate that moment you're building. That day you decide to do something with a focus and purpose, and it's that feeling you get when you've accomplished.
Sure.
That's the thing that keeps you going.
I always tell my team and my co-shareholder, let's enjoy the journey. Let's just enjoy the day.
That's the whole vibe, man. That's the whole reason.
Exactly. Let's just make the best of it.
Because you get the product at the end and you go sick, and then you go what?
True.
And then you're kind of there going shit. Like
we had just a big discussion about the overall company strategy in one of my companies. I'm shareholder, and I said, let's guys just enjoy it. Let's enjoy. Let's like zoom out a bit. And I think that's a big tip. But there's something even deeper, and I think that's the most deepest thing you can tell to any entrepreneur, and you can tell to yourself out there listening is, I am enough. I have everything
100%.
I need.
Yeah.
And if not, guys, listen to some podcasts like this one. Use ChatGPT, and you will see. You will figure it out.
Yeah, and there's a guy. So I went for after the exit, I went for a really hard time. I broke up with a partner that I was with long term. It didn't work out. I was drinking a lot, partying a lot. And there's a guy called James O'Keefe, and he owns something called Unguarded Warrior. And he's very similar background to me, funnily enough. Grew up with not a lot. And he has this like men's... It's about positive lifestyle and understanding you're enough and connecting with fellow man. I think the reason that suicide rates are so high in men, especially today, is a lack of connectivity. And you get that from business. And as long as you're sensible with your budgets, don't be stupid, boys and girls. Don't go out and spend every bit of money you get, but build a team. Because actually, in the Unguarded Warrior thing, and in my experiences, as you say, the journey, that can be both on the business side and normal life. And it's about surrounding yourself, because we are social animals. We derive from the the social outcomes of the primates and the baboons when they first started to group together and understand. And we still forget that we have that biological marker. We think because social media and this and that we've those billion years of development as organisms is gone. It's not. Like, you need to be communicative, you need to be in touch, you need to be on a journey. And so when I went through that and went for a really hard time, while the business side had been exited and I'd left, I didn't know what to do. There was someone like James that was able to go, like, just come and be a part of this group of Unguarded Warrior, come on this retreat, just be around other people and learn you're enough. And then you go, okay, so I knew I was enough in business, but now the question wasn't about business anymore. I knew I'd completed it. I'm the only person in the world to build net zero around 4 continents. I was advising the World Bank accrediting body. I'd done everything. But now my other side of my life, that personal side, was lacking. So it's a balance, man.
Yeah, no, 100%. And this is also why I invited you this weekend to this entrepreneurship get-together. We call it Society, as I think it's so important to, on eye level, discuss certain things. But let's go back to your learning. So again, we had now when you're 15, we had now probably your deepest moment when you're 21. And you made it almost your best moment by twisting it around and said, now it's up to me. Now I'm enough. Now I'm ready to do it.
Well, that didn't work. Like, in a way, it's so makes that bad. Well, that didn't work. Couldn't even kill myself. So like, let's do something. And then I was like, and then weirdly, like, this thing overcame me. But I tell you what happened, what was brilliant as well. And it's so painful. People say to me, would you change your life? Your dad beat you up all the time. And really physically abusive, like violent. My mum was in bits all the time, crying, getting locked in kitchens while he'd slap me around drunk. Like, seriously, the level of resilience that built into me. People say, would you change it? I wouldn't change a day. And that's so that's so perplexing to think of the trauma. Has that left me with baggage? So much. Trusting people, loving people, that's hard, because that person you're meant to love, that there's paternal, betrayed your trust. But my God, did it give me resilience. Was able, and if you look at that and you're in a dark situation now and you're like in a room feeling lonely, just remember that darkness, So when someone goes, your business is shit, or I don't believe you,
bring it on.
Whatever, bro. It sounds like a problem. Do you know what I mean?
I like that, for sure. And the respect that you can speak so openly about it, because I think that is also the most important thing to just be open about it.
Yeah.
I think always between closed doors, and if needed, get help and talk to other people who can help you.
Yeah.
And
you got to help yourself.
yes, and
it's
at
so
the
hard.
end,
So hard.
It's you and help yourself.
It's so hard to make that decision, you know,
Yeah.
and be that person. But you got to help yourself. And I've seen again. I come back to that point, and I don't want to sound like a I don't know, a bad person, but you know, again, like you don't have to give it the hype. You don't have to be the crypto bro. You don't have to be the selling the timeshare or rental apartment, this and that. You don't have to be the hype man. What you can just do is just believe in yourself and get on with it. You don't need external factors to validate who you are, because you will always be let down and you will never be satisfied. Yeah. You have to internally validate and go like, you know what, I'm doing this for me, not for the likes, because it will just manifest into darkness, because you feel let down all the time. True. And you'll never feel good enough.
But I really see in you the superpower, and I think every entrepreneur kind of develops this, or every human has this, and your superpower is your relentless work ethic.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, you know that?
To the point
so when
where
I text you, man, it's like, it can be 24/7. I think I'm getting back like so much more. I said, oh my gosh, like I know when I text you, I better have time to, we have a chat.
Yeah, mate, it's funny. One of the core technologies, so we're setting up a chip manufacturing facility, which is the sensor company. And just this morning, I was speaking to my co-founder, a seasoned investor.
Yes.
And I've been focused on the company. And he's like, I need you to just like not focus for a week. I was like, why? He's like, the team can't keep up. Genuinely, like you are spitting out so much workload that we just need to add 3 more people now. So in a way, like I have to, and this I think is why I've got more than one company, is I really enjoy it. I love doing the retrofits and fixing old buildings. I love being on the ground at the same time. I do installs. People are like, why? I'm like, I've got a CEO of this company, this company, this company. I'm like, no, I like doing that. But also you have to temper the enthusiasm. And even at this stage, having the success I've had, I still have to be reminded by my business partners to calm down and slow down a bit, because 100%. I just want to keep going, and I love it. So it's like...
So what is the secret by managing so many companies in parallel?
The secret is the reality that actually over-focusing on one causes more damage. You are best off, in my opinion, if you are, they say ADHD, spectrum, all this, and whatever they want to label us in the academic world. When you're really passionate and hungry and you get bored, you can spend time playing video games, which, by the way, big up video gamers, because they make better surgeons, and I actually think it's good for the cognitive function. Big up Elon Musk, top 20 Diablo player in the world. Yeah. Like I was watching Joe Rogan the other day. Like, big up them, but like I want to spread my resource and time. So then the problem becomes, if you spend all of your resource and time on one thing, you will become blind. Have you ever had been document blind? Yeah. Because what you do is you obsess, because you're like, I want to get it done. So what
Focus you then on too much.
Yeah, you too much, and you definitely, mate. Sometimes you just got to let the pot simmer. Sometimes you just got to deliver something really good, perfect it, and let time, because we try to, time is a really weird concept in that like it dictates everything we do, but it's also perspective, and time can literally change based on your focus. You can feel like an hour's gone in 10 minutes, but you can feel like an hour's lasted forever if you're sitting in a cell.
For sure. I had the chance to talk to one of the first 20 employees from Google, and one of them, his superpower is he can focus. So I tell you, here can be an atomic bomb, and here can be the world goes down. He's just in the moment.
Yeah, he's just there.
He's just there.
Yeah.
And I think on a CEO level, you need to be able to be all over. Yes, it's nice if you can also deep dive sometimes, but I think at the end you need to be the captain of the ship to understand is what's behind, what's before, what's left and right. Would you agree?
Yeah, totally. And it's about having that holistic nature. And I think that's why if you're too busy as a CEO, you're not doing your job properly.
Yeah.
I think that the CEO needs to build a resilient team, and if you are a CEO and you're thinking, okay, what's the best way for me to build my team, is you need to ask yourself the question, do I have to continuously pick work up? If so, where's that weak area? A CEO's job should be to build a team where the CEO does the minimum amount of job, so that they can focus on the strategy across the different areas. So I can have my CTO, my COO, my CFO. I can look at products and utilizations. If you're too busy all the time in meetings, and this is probably why some of us have multiple ventures. Everyone I meet, whether it's an Elon Musk in this world or someone that's just started up, you'll notice they've got more than one project. Mm-hmm. And I think that's because they realize that like I need to be able to move between projects to not oversaturate a project and allow my team to grow.
Yeah.
And I find that, and I also find the CEO role a really weird role as well. If you've got an amazing COO, do you need a CEO? You need a strategist. And I think as well, the organizational existing structure that we're so used to is changing slightly. Digital tools, AI, things are making the CEO role a tiny bit different because CEOs and teams can do so much more. You used to have like a CEO governance structure. And now it's kind of, I said this the other day to someone that works within the business. I said, well, one of me and my CEOs work amazing together because actually we're co-CEOs. And we can have all the titles in the world. But I tell you what, if we need to be a janitor that day, we'll be a janitor that day. If we need to be a decision maker that day, we'll be a decision maker. In startups, before your first, I would say 50 million in turnover, depending on productization. That could be a big development. We've got one development that's 400 million. It could be selling, 100,000 pieces of something. Yeah. You've got to really understand that you are everything, and there is no ego. I had someone recently say to me, there's a lot of egos in this business. I'm like, damn fucking right. Damn right. But we've all got the same ego. If you have got different moments of ego, you need to be able to go, shit, okay, that's you today, bro. And that's what I do with one of my CEOs really well, and Catalina. So me and Catalina, and then me and Tom Fenton just do this between each other. Like there's no, whatever, bro. There's no hierarchy. Why? We all know that we've got to get it done. Yeah. When you get to a certain point and the product becomes organic, and by organic, I mean driving its own revenue, got its place in the market, that's when stuff needs to change a little bit. So structuring what is a CEO is quite
I think I have one important addition that you also, yes, the CEO should be able to work on all levels, and I think they should have been operator before as well.
Yeah.
Because they need to know how it is, and I tell we call them managing directors of each company. I tell them you should call the customer at least once a day.
100%.
Like
we forgot that as well. We don't even. I find that crazy. If you look at companies now, they're so busy on focusing scale, like they forget like the end. I've made that mistake actually, thinking I know best.
Yeah.
Again, and that's again where the arrogance of the entrepreneur seeps out of you. And you got to check yourself and go like, what's needed today? Kind of thing.
100%. I think that's super important and interesting. And I think also for you, for your experience. But let's talk a little bit more about your experience also raising 40 million pounds. I mean, that's not a small sum. What's your experience for the entrepreneurs listening who want to raise now such an amount? And what was your biggest learning here?
That I didn't need it.
I love that. I
didn't need it.
I love that. But it was for your ego. Basically, it was a bit of you're in the newspaper.
Right. It's really the most important thing before you even think about money is ask yourself: is the investor going to be active? So before you even think about a value, don't put your business plan together. Forget all of it. Ask yourself, what are you getting from the investor? Before any money, forget the money. Say to yourself, ask yourself the question: am I better off having someone on my board that is requesting outcomes and results from money given, to then force the company into a position of reducing the organic nature of the business, or could you do this organic?
I love it. We call it smart money as well. So it's all about, do we need it, and what else is coming besides
that's the first thing. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, how much do you really need? I mean, that 40 million was like different investors over different periods of time. One of it was a trigger seed, and Lord Stanley Fink has always been one of the best mentors I've ever had. He's an amazing man. He's actually an amazing man. Really, he taught me things at a young age that I just, he was like CEO of Man Group. So I was learning I was just listening. That was a trigger seed investment. And then we got an investment for a development. And obviously you then have the development. Now I actually didn't add in capital raised for the company is one thing, but actually we've, raised about 30, 40 million. I'm in the middle of the moment raising 50 million dev finance. Development's a very different beast. You kind of raise debt against the delivery of an asset. Yeah. And then I went and I wanted to globalize too quickly. Because I built standout systems in different locations, like the highest performing buildings in each territory. And I had this vision of 7 in 7 buildings on 7 world continents. That's 7, like solving 7 world problems. Like it was like, how can I solve, freezing cold in Antarctica? It was cool, right? But my ego wanted me to go too quick. And what I did is I dropped the ball on operations, going to scale too quickly. Yeah. And the problem is we did a really good job. We set up a factory in Saudi, but there was just a massive difference at the end of the day between what the investors expected and what my mentality was. So when I raised that money over these different tranches, did I really need it? And could I have done exactly the same job with less? And then therefore, could I have kept true to what my interpretation was? Because you can sell a business, you can't part own a business as an entrepreneur. Once you remove the vision of a business, it's incredibly hard. And you see it from a lot of venture capital acquisitions. You see the original founder goes away, exits, or the company venture capital firm buys in, and that company's not the same because there's the idea of creation and inventing something that didn't exist. So like our technologies just didn't exist. So we dreamt them into reality. Without that executed timeline of what's next, and without really doing like what Steve Jobs did with Tim Cook, a real like person that understood it, a business will fail as well. So you just got to ask yourself, do you need it? I think that's do I need that? Do I need what comes with it? If you can.
I think it's such an important point to point out. I haven't talked to one person yet who raised money, a founder, and who is really happy. Like really on the podcast, not one told me, Michael, that's like...
Yeah, man, I got loads of money and it was awesome, sick.
The last one raised 30 million euros. And he said, Michael, when the camera was off, and I can say it because he even said it on camera in a different way. He said, Michael, now I had the pressure to have such a high burning rate.
Dude.
He said, now they told me, you have to burn.
But yeah, but then you have to earn. So you're like, crap, now I've just done this with my overheads. And now I've got to go figure out. And you're like, what?
True.
It just, bro.
So they went to like exhibitions, had this extreme
spending
booze.
so much money on stands.
on 2 levels, had free drinks for everyone.
And they probably signed 1 contract.
And he said, we had 4. They said, Michael, we had 4 new clients.
We spent so much money.
It was like...
you keep up with your own brand at that point, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're trying to keep up with the momentum. That's, dude, I made that
And
mistake.
also, it's a different poker game, I always say, right? So we had yesterday also discussion, should we raise money or not? And I said, guys, it's a different game, right? It's on a different table. Do we want it? Do we have it? Yes. Also, for my personal ego, I would say, I haven't raised like big amounts yet, so let's go for it. But other people tell me, Michael, you have all bootstrapped. Congratulations, you should be proud of it.
Big up bootstrapping, man.
No, but it's like, it's like on the one hand, you want to do it. On the other hand,
that's a smart move, though, man. The smart money is bootstrap until a point. You can get what you want in an exit form without hyperscaling at different values. I think this is what's really confusing to people. It's like, what is the 40 million representative to? Yeah. How much of the business have I sacrificed? And can I just wait? Can you be patient? And I have had to learn. I mean, I've got some really close friends. One that lives here, founded Arc Live, Nicholas Edwards. And I'm pretty sure his whole job when it works with me is just keeping me patient and checking my ego. Like literally, like most of his time is spent going like, do we need it? Patience. I was meant to be going to Saudi to meet Roshan and meet all the majors. And he was like, Joe, you're just dumping, you're doing it again. You've got all this work you've dropped on everyone. He's like, we don't go focus on one of your other projects for just a week. Give everyone some space because you don't necessarily need it. But because things are hyping and you're moving, you want to move with it. And the hardest thing is to step back and go, no.
Look, you really need to watch out when your shareholders give you a free cruise line ticket for 3 weeks without internet access. So something is that, you got the first trip to Mars. Yeah, congratulations for 3 weeks.
Buy away before for 6 months.
No, but I think it's a very important point. So on the one hand, I have respect for everyone who fundraise out there, really, but who is thinking, should I do it or should I not do it? I think what I learned already is think besides the money, do I really need it? And do I want to have somebody else in this marriage? Because a company, a shareholder, is a kind of
it's
marriage,
a family.
Right?
It's each company. So each of my companies has got a different family. It's like I've got loads of kids and they've all like had grandkids. And I feel like all my kids have got little families I spend time with. But you got to also remember look at the words sometimes. I think what we do is we skip over the meanings of things. So if you think about NFT, is a non-fungible token. Like there's nonsensical, it's non-fungible. Venture capital is venture capital. It's designed to, here's a little bit of stuff you don't really need so we can sit there and drink off of it. It should be called vulture capital.
Yeah.
Because that's,
good point.
you know, and you know, people probably aren't going to be used to this. Someone coming on that has an ecosystem is like, geez, aren't you going to screw the venture capitalists? Because you get in a meeting with someone that then puts you in a meeting with someone that's assessing your business needs and how much you should expect a return that just came out of university.
Right.
And is not an entrepreneur or founder.
Yeah,
you know,
so
you
true.
see it, right? So it's like, if you can bootstrap, but also be aware that there is a tipping point. So don't be scared of the money, but just be like, when do we need it? Like, can we get to this point, be clean, make a little bit of money, and then go big? Or are you going to try and debt the company up way too early?
Absolutely, yeah. Let's go closer to today's world. In 2022, just some years ago, there was a best documentary at the London Film Award about your life.
That was wild.
How did it make you feel, man? It's like, wow.
I couldn't believe it.
Like, I get goosebumps thinking about like your story and then thinking about, wow, you're seeing it all.
Yeah. So like imagine like the EVCOM London Film Awards are like the business film awards. Right. So it's like the Oscars if you're a business doing a piece. And like I'm sitting there and there's a red carpet and I'm like, this is wild, yeah. Because we filmed this documentary and that like the director was amazing. He really understood my story. And we went to the park. We filmed in a park that I was homeless in. Went to the house that I had to move out of that made me end up like I was in this kind of place for a bit of time and then had to leave that house and ended up in a park with my stuff in a park, sleeping on a bench. And we did all that. But it was
how did it make you feel to be back there?
Oh, it was crap. I hated it.
Did you still notice some people or something?
I just couldn't stand it. No. I just couldn't stand being there.
I was like,
let's get in, get me in and get me out. I hate living in the past. If I had to live in all the mistakes of my past and the abuse of my past, I would not be here. You have to, I think forward. I learn from the past, but I don't live in it. Living in the past is a dangerous thing. But it was weird, bro.
Important point for all entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Yes,
remember, learn from the past, don't live in the past.
Love it.
Today's moment is the moment, and that moment is gone as quick as you see it because you're experiencing real time.
I need to write this down. Learn from the past, don't live in it. It's so
Learn
true.
from the past, don't live in it. So there's 3 types of data, right? There's historized data, there's live data, and there's like what you'd call like time-stamped pieces. You can learn from the timestamps and the pieces of data in time. You can always use those and carry those with you. But don't forget, the rest of it's historized and archived. That's sitting there somewhere. It doesn't need to be seen. You don't need to remember everything. Because actually memories can be the darkness. And I say to people all the time, you can't unsee things. So I have a business mantra that's quite unique. I go, you can't unsee things. People say, whoa, why would you send that deck of information around that project? I'm like, because once they see it, it'll come back later. But also that happens the negative as well. So when partners, cheat on each other or when there's abuse in something or you're really hurt by someone's decision, you can just live in it. You can live in that past moment and you're like, and it controls you. You can have been rejected once and that rejection just carries through everything in your business. So you need to just go, do you know what? That's over there, man.
So true.
I'm a new me every second that there's a second in every word that I speak because now I'm in a new moment so I can live forward. And that's really important. But yeah, man, winning a documentary was so surreal, bro. So I'm like, there's major companies, like major adverts. We're talking, I think there was like British Petroleum there or something. You know they're going to buy it, right? And mine won. And it won 2, I think. Wow. I think I won documentary and ad. But like to be standing there, like my...
So your mom was there as well?
No, it was just me and the bank.
Okay.
So all the mates, that's wild. So I had like people from Barclays Bank around this table. Dude.
Oh, okay. Oh.
And I was like...
Guys, it's my life.
I was like, bro, we just... My life, and you're a bank. So I, like, part of the advert was walking past the Barclays that I used to walk past when I was broke on a high street. Wow. I'm like, the fuck, what's going on? And it ended in a really beautiful way. I'll try to get you the link from Barclays because they've moved it onto a different site, but it's still on the Barclays website somewhere. But yeah, man. That was just so surreal. And it was like, now I build net zero buildings and I'm changing the world and like, I'm going to do more. And what's more insane is I now work with the same team that did that. So Dave Davis, Zoe Lamb, great people, Jason Constable at Barclays. We're now working on loads of new projects. So like the Live Data Trust, my non-profit, we're working on that. We're collaborating on some discussions on that. The digital twin planning, they love that. And it's kind of now blossomed in this beautiful relationship. And I just want to shoot more documentaries. Like there's one I'm doing at the moment. I love documentaries. One of my best friends in the world is his name's JP, one of the best documentary filmmakers. Making documentaries is like my favorite thing. So also to win something about something I love, doing something I love.
But also to watch?
Yeah, to watch. I love watching documentaries. Yeah. I just love...
Because I think you
love
can get so
moments.
much information out. It's like a podcast. You learn from the world directly.
Right, and I love it. So the 7 in 7 thing was going to be a documentary of me going to 7 continents. We're doing one at the moment, which I'm hoping just going to be finished in terms of like, we do like we put some ideas together and then we bring it some pieces and then we'll shoot a documentary. Unfortunately, the documentary is about to take a back step. So obviously this year we've launched 3 major tech companies that in a way, I say, unfortunately, have kind of all blown up at the same time. So, I kind of went 3 companies, one will work in 25, or like 2 will work in 25, 1 in 24, all 3 of them have worked in 24. So I've had to like resource my team's filmmaking into commercial, we do micro docs, like little bits around the business, but we just did one for the Live Data Trust, the non-profit, about how data sharing is a key thing. But I really, at the moment, want to, and we're in pre-production, I would call it, and we started shooting some test shoots called Made in Saudi or Made in Neom to decarbonize the West, because we'll be the first company exporting a Middle Eastern manufactured technology that decarbonizes buildings in the West. So we created this amazing narrative where it's like we're going to speak to the ambassador and say like, well, hold on, it's used to oil is changing. Hold on, transition. Okay, well, what if we manufacture technology that enabled the decarbonization, batteries infrastructure, sensor infrastructure?
So a lot of still ideas to really own this
narrative, like
with this vision of yours, this development of urban city development.
Development of it and the pieces of it and how materials can be used. But documentaries are my way of expression, and I unfortunately haven't had the freedom of the budget. You have to, again, realism of running businesses. Like I'd love to be out just filming documentaries, but I'm leading 3 companies, and then me and Catalina leads the ecosystem company. So there's like 2. One day I'm making decisions on a company-based level, but the next day we're thinking about the holistic nature of how does it evolve. So I haven't had the freedom, but the documentaries to me, that's beauty. It's just watching, just sitting back.
So what is your learning when it comes now to those companies? How do you start to get the momentum in the companies? So I see a relentless work ethic and from you, but what else? Like, how do you, when you see all the different companies you created, what learning can you share that will help?
Yeah, so there's definitely, I'd say there's 3 core components, what I've realized having had now, 4 world-changing businesses. So 5 actually with the Live Data Trust. So we've, I suppose if you count Elixir, 6, right? So when you actually look at the companies, each of them have defined a sector. So I've done projects in sectors that have defined sectors. And what I learned with Elixir doing it is there's actually some key fundamentals. So one, you need to really understand what you're trying to do, but don't expect to have all the answers. So like, okay, so me and David Partridge, he built King's Cross in London. He's one of the GOATs, greatest of all time builders, developers. The guy is amazing, love him to bits. And he founded Sens, which is the retrofit LiDAR company that uses the other sensors, audits buildings, gives you digital twins. And we knew that we wanted to address a problem. And what was really unique is I found an individual. So for me, don't found a business by yourself.
Yeah.
You can be the founder, but go look for a co-founder.
And it's so many studies proves this over and over again. Co-founded businesses are more successful as more is better.
Mate, because
100%.
you can share the load, but also do 2 different perspectives.
100%.
You're usually wrong. Like we're both usually wrong. Like be wrong. Live with being wrong.
Somewhere outside of
live with being wrong. So one founder partner. So I've got like my really legacy business partner Nicholas Edwards in ArcLive with me. I've got David Partridge in Sens, and then we brought on Tom Fenton, who's now like another co-founder, CEO. He's a young company that we kind of merged with. In MetaConnects, I've got like the core Elixir team, because what's happening is now the companies are starting to be built out by Elixir, and we've got someone called Ashley Dunzeeth, Shamir Gumrah. These are like global head of BRIAM, head of WSP. They've joined that, and what I've noticed is that you need to co-found and partners in your business first. So strategize. Then what you need is a companion. So what we've got at Elixir is really unique, that me and Catalina and Daniel are like companions. Right. What we do is we bounce shit off together, like all the time. And that allows us to have the freedom of like, okay, how should we articulate this? How is it going to impact the wider ecosystem? And just having that common frequency of a discussion point. So, and remember, at this point, right, we haven't spent any money yet. So we've got a partner that can either invest time or money. So they need to invest their skills or capital to enable skills.
Right.
So in David Partridge's instance, he invested capital to help us found the business. I invested my skills. In MetaConnects, we've actually all just invested our skills to try and get it done, because time is money and money is time. So don't be afraid to not take money and have resources. It actually can be sometimes more valuable. Sweat equity. And then the third thing is that we have me and Catalina then work with that partner or partner company, and we have Daniel Goodall, and he's our chief experience officer with an X, CXO, and bring it to life. Before you spend any money, bring it to life. Make sure that you can build a deck. I would say you need three things: a deck, a business plan, not the conventional business plan though. Forget all your washy details. You think you're writing a business plan, yeah, bro, that's going to change just get an idea of your numbers and your cash flow and what the business means. Get a deck that's really explains your product, explains your vision, and then get an explainer video. Why? A little bit of production value goes a long way. And that could be in the form of a self-shot documentary. It can be in the form of a hero explainer, which is animated. Because what you've now done is you've created resource capital. So what I've got now is I've got sweat equity or a bit of capital. So that's an investment. I've now got an articulation and I've got a team. So the companions on my back and day, everyday team, what then happens is that will manifest. And if you focus on that, it will slowly start to grow and you start introducing it. And you don't even, and Elon Musk says something interesting, build the product. I agree with you, Elon, but not everyone's an engineer.
Right, yeah.
So actually build the principal ideology and build a team that will build the product. And then all of a sudden you'll have something.
Entrepreneurship is team sport, not a single sport.
Oh, man.
Look, I think so many points. You saw me sometimes actually writing down because I actually got so much out of it as well. But one more point I need to underline is the customer experience, person or officer. I think it's so essential to focus on that because at the end, almost all products somehow exist in a way or another, but we consumer actually buy also an experience, and I think that's so true. Let's summarize. So I met somebody who has an extremely hard child time,
hard, you call it hard time?
Yeah, hard times, extremely challenging. Then between 15 and 21, like oh my gosh, even worse almost, yeah. 21 the deepest point, and then you just twisted it massively around, had a lot of success, so much that even the documentary was filming about
made
you
a
got
ton
an
of
award.
mistakes.
Yeah. Raised over 40 million pounds, had exits in companies, created many companies. So what are we seeing in the future from you?
Smart cities change. You will see this wave of technologies are revolutionary. We've taken a town in northwest of England where you can't build because construction costs are too high and development's too expensive, and we've already introduced $1 billion of development in the town with no cost to the council. We are revolutionizing the way that buildings and data and renovations are done, and we're creating. We will have the most intelligent AI in the world in building. Full stop. And the reason why is that you can't beat live data. We aren't using principal outcomes. And then the live data trust. So the non-profit is something I'm really passionate about. You have all these legacy kind of governance and organizations that build red tape. The live data trust is the first government-backed live data trust, and it's designed on data collaboration rather than data insecurity. And that is about to revolutionize because it's a non-profit. And people are like, a couple of people said to me, you're mad. You're building $1 billion company that's the first data sharing government-backed company. You're speaking with major people like Barclays. Why are you doing this as a non-profit? And I'm like, because sometimes you got to shake shit up. And there's a step change in happening. And then we're going to move on to finance and how use data to finance. So it's going to be an interesting 2-3 years.
Interesting journey. Joseph, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you, man.
Talking to you. Thank you for sharing all the insights.
Appreciate it.
For everyone listening, you have everything you need in you to build a company. You are enough. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Safe, bro.
Before you go, a quick note to all the entrepreneurial listeners out there. If you're looking for a reliable and efficient way to scale your online business and payments, I highly recommend checking out copecard.com. It's designed to streamline your processes from payment processing to customer management, all in one platform. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to scale up, Copecard provides the tools you need to succeed. Visit copecard.com today and see how it can transform your business operations. Dive in and start optimizing your sales processes now.